So it's no surprise that the sales of interchangeable lens cameras are going down in favor of the increasingly improved cameras on iPhones. But can you assemble an interchangeable lens system that could entirely fit into your pocket? Alrighty guys, I got something pretty exciting for you. I didn't think this was possible, but what I have found is a set of vintage lenses that when paired with a small mirrorless camera can entirely fit in your pocket at any time. Okay, maybe not women. You know what? Pocket equality is important. But if you have large pockets or a very small purse or a small bag that you want to carry around, but you don't want to lug around a full lens system, this is it. All right, so what I have here is a small Sony mirrorless camera. I have an A6000 right here. I have 3 small Pentax lenses, Pentax 110 lenses, and an adapter to adapt them all. And I can fit them all in my hands. Check this out. Boom. All right in my hand. Can you believe that? I can't believe this. This is absolutely awesome. And you get 3 focal lengths. 3! Okay, so how did Pentax get to make these lenses so small? There are definitely drawbacks that come along with these lenses. One of the primary drawbacks is that they are vintage lenses, so they are going to be all manual focus, and they don't have a manually adjustable aperture. That's because they are all permanently stuck at f2.8. This saves a lot of weight and makes them absolutely tiny, but it does come with its drawbacks. Another reason why these are so small, the coverage on these lenses are only large enough to cover Sony APS-C. They cannot cover full frame. I don't really think that that's such a big deal, because if you're going to have a camera system that you can carry around with you, most full frame cameras are going to be much too large. Even Sony's A7, I can't even fit in my pocket. If I was going to pick something that would work really well with this, I would choose the Sony A1000 that I'm shooting this on. It's super tiny, and then pair with one of these, absolutely microscopic. But other mirrorless APS-C cameras, I've had these on Fuji's. It just works on any mirrorless APS-C. It will not work on any DSLRs. I'm sorry about that. The flange distance just is far too short for it to ever go on a DSLR. But despite all these shortcomings, the true value lies within their size. I mean, like I said before, it will entirely fit in my hands, and it will entirely go in my pockets. It will entirely go into a very small bag or purse. It can just come with you anywhere, and you get 3 focal lengths at f2.8 on an APS-C sensor. This is going to help you a lot in low light. This is something that if you're going to dinner and you want to take pictures with your friends, but your iPhone is getting really grainy, this is going to be something that is going to come in clutch. This gives you pretty much what I consider a holy trinity. It gives you a really nice wide at 27. The 35 is just about at the edge of what I would consider a standard field of view, 35 to 50-ish. And then the 75 is a short telephoto. It's a little bit shorter than 85, but it still makes for some really nice compression and portrait photography. Take a look at some of the character of these lenses and make a decision for yourself on what you think of them.
That's good.
I'm not going to sit here and preach to you that these are the best things since sliced bread. While they are pretty great, they do have drawbacks. Here are some of them. Because these are f2.8 on an APS-C sensor, you're not going to get an equivalent depth of field narrower than f4-ish on a full frame, which leaves a lot to be desired in the bokeh department and subject separation. However, I find the 50mm still works really well for portraits. You still get a nice pop on that. The 24mm or 35mm equivalent on full frame gets you a really solid perspective. I love shooting at the 35mm portrait length, especially for video. These are great for video. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, optically, I find these lenses to be a little bit meh. It's one of those things that you really have to like the look that it produces for this to be worth it for you. They're not the sharpest thing out there. They don't have the craziest bokeh you'll ever see. They are just good, solid optics that will work well in place of an iPhone. The true value, like I've mentioned before, comes in the portability of these lenses. I find that these lenses tend to give a filmic look as a result of their character, which I personally find really pleasing. I found that it paired very well with the Fuji X-T10 that I shot them on for a little while, but they also work really well for the Sony APS-C system cameras as well. So why pick up these lenses? Why not just use your iPhone? I mean, it's great for that. It's already a tool you're going to be carrying around anyway. If it has a camera that is about the same quality, why would you upgrade to something like this? Or why would it even be considered an upgrade? I find personally that the biggest game changer of these lenses is the fact that you can have multiple focal lengths. Now, I believe that the iPhone is around a 35mm equivalent focal length, and that's pretty standard, and that works for most things. But personally, especially if I'm street shooting or if I want to get pictures of some of my friends while we're out hanging out, I want something telephoto. I want a short telephoto where I can talk with them and get nice photos of them and just get a different perspective that isn't that standard iPhone look. Is it gonna have more bokeh than portrait mode? I really don't think so, but then again, there is a lot of debate on whether you may like the portrait mode as a photographer. I know a lot of photographers think it's intentionally fake or looks too fake and don't want to use it as a result. This 50mm right here, while it may not be the most blown out blurry background you've ever seen, it definitely will give you a nice subject background separation and give you decent bokeh along with it. Another thing that I really like is if you're in a city or somewhere like that and you want to get a landscape or you want to get a cityscape or you want to do a little bit of architectural photography, I personally find that my iPhone is a little bit restrictive in terms of the focal length. So whenever I'm in the city and I'm right up on a building, I'm like, wow, this is gorgeous, or this is a gorgeous church, I'd love to take a photo of it. I break out my iPhone and I find that the iPhone is just a little too cropped in. I usually can't get the top. If it's a really wide building, I'll have to go across the street, or I'll just have to go out of my way to get a photo with the iPhone. I'll have to work really hard. This 18mm right here is about 27mm equivalent focal length, and I personally find that it is great for architectural photography, especially if you just want to do a walk around and you're with friends and you want to just try to get a great photo on the fly without trying to drag your entire group across the street. Hey, I want to get this photo. Like, people don't want to do that, especially if you have non-photographer friends. This is great. I can get right up on the building and I can get some great shots. Check out this one that I got when I was traveling to Louisville with the UVA men's basketball team. As you can see from this photo, it has a little bit of distortion, maybe not just a little bit, but I still find that it can be corrected in post if you really want to. But it really gets the whole building in, so if you need to correct it, you still have the entire image to work with as opposed to an iPhone where you're gonna have to go way out of your way to get that photo. As I mentioned before, the true value of these lie in their portability. Let me show you my telephoto portrait setup for when I travel and how small it really is with this system. Look at this. Look how small this is. This is ridiculous. I've never seen a telephoto lens this small. This is absurd. This is a ridiculously small, compact size. This could easily go in a large jacket pocket. It could go into a small bag. It could go into a purse if you really wanted to get some great photos and you prefer the telephoto focal length. Not only this, but because they are cheap plastic lenses from the 70s, they are very overlooked by most vintage lens hunters, vintage lens collectors. They're kind of seen as throwaway lenses because they have so many restrictions. As a result of this, you can pick up these usually in bundles. You can sort of get a kit for them, but you also can get them individually. But either way, I never really see them going for more than $100, all three of them together. So I heard these from Caleb Pike over at DSLR Video Shooter a couple months back. So if you want a really in-depth and video application video about these lenses, then you should go check him out. Go click right here. All right, so I'm not gonna go into too much depth with these. I will be testing them extensively to give you a thorough review on each of them, hopefully coming out throughout this week. So stay tuned for that. But this was just a little bit of a first look and kind of a breakdown to see if this is a system you might be interested in. I encourage you all to do your own research as well. Go check out Caleb's video over at DSLR Video Shooter, and I will see you guys very soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day.